A very warm welcome to all of our audiences out there. Today we want to touch upon the topic of what's the difference between holistic and conventional medicine. And we have Dr. Parviz Rashvand here with us in the room today again to tell us exactly what is holistic medicine. Thank you for being here, Dr. Parviz.
Absolutely, my pleasure. I'm sure a lot of people have heard this term, holistic medicine. Holistic medicine is when a doctor, a physician is trained to look at the body as well as the information system which governs this physical body. That means emotions, mind, spirit. That means environment. That means our perception. That means a lot of other factors that could constantly affect the quality of health and balance of this physical body. In conventional system of medicine, all the focus is only on the physical body. A more precise MRI machines or a CT scan that could give us more detailed pictures, X-rays, blood tests. It's all about what comes out of the physical body. And this goes back to the science behind that. The science, as we have spoken before, behind conventional medicine and conventional biology is classical science, 350-year-old science that is only based on Newtonian physics. What you could see, what you could touch, what you could measure. Anything beyond that is considered non-scientific. In alternative medicine techniques, whether this is TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, homeopathy, naturopathic medicine, chiropractic care, osteopathy, and all of them, they also look at the energy system. What information is governing our body? I'll explain this in more details in just a minute. Our human body, like any other piece of matter in this universe, creates and keeps its shape and its function based on the information that it receives. Let's make an example. When you start laughing, every bit of elements in your body starts to feel that energy, okay? The same as when we feel sad or depressed or angry. Now,
because there's such an interconnection.
Everything is you, everything is me in this body. So if I feel good, then everything in me is supposed to feel good because this idea is projected through the central nervous system, neurotransmitters, hormones, and any other signal to the rest of the neighbors within the body to follow the rule of the general system, which is now feeling happiness.
Correct.
Now, that also applies, let's say to any element in your body, including the iron. Iron in your body, in my body right now, is anything that looks red. So blood, muscles, liver, these are deposits of iron. Now, imagine I take some of the iron from your body, which again looks red as a part of your tissue, and bring it out of your energy system. In about some time later, 2 to 3 days later, it turns into some black powder. Yeah? Imagine I put this iron black powder, which used to be a part of you and is not anymore, on a piece of paper. And I make a joke and you laugh. And everything in you again goes through the same reaction except this one, because this is not within your energy system anymore. This doesn't bring in information from you. Whatever
doesn't
I do,
receive the signal,
which makes you react, this one completely stays out of it until I bring a piece of magnet.
Yeah.
Now I bring the magnet here, suddenly all these little elements come align according to the lines and information that the field is providing, yeah? And I start turning on the music, I start dancing with this little iron underneath. What do you see up here? Everything's, you see? So the elements follow information, okay? Now, we see this quite frequently in nature. The book of Hidden Message in Water, Masaru Emoto.
Correct.
How the energy of the mind of a person who wrote the world, he says, I wrote a word on a piece of paper, stuck it to the bottle of water. When it was frozen, the crystal was completely different from every single word according to each other. So the more beautiful words like love, gratitude, created the more aligned and more beautiful crystal, whereas the ugly words couldn't crystallize the water.
Correct.
Well, it was something incomplete or something ugly. The book is available. We can show it.
I've
here
read
as
it,
well.
and it's an amazing book.
Yeah. Or there is another
My
one.
water here, so sorry. It listens to my jazz all day, and I feel when I drink it, it has a different texture to it, a different feel to it. And
It's
he
true.
says that. He says what the water hears. And
It's
if you
true.
play music, it
Now
changes.
you understand scientifically what it means when they say, okay, you can bless your food. Now you understand why people start praying and
Yes.
appreciating the fact that they have access to this food before they eat it. So they change the crystals, not
Absolutely.
only in the food they are going to consume, but also in their own body. So they create a better harmony between what
Balance,
is
state of
coming
balance.
towards a better balance. This is consciousness involved. Anyways, there's another one, a scientist named Clive Baxter, who was an expert in polygram technology, the lie detector machine. He accidentally discovered that the plants can read our intention and they respond to it. He connected some of the plants to his polygram technology and he recorded the electrical signals, and he was an expert. He knew what electrical signals means happiness, what means fear, for example. And then he realized that when he had the intention to give water to the plant started to emit signals related to joy and happiness. And when he decided to burn one of the leaves, there was a lot of frequencies related to fear. This is electrical measurement on the paper, so there is nothing to deny. 100% fact. These things happen in nature constantly. So our body is nothing separate that nature either. So what happens to the nature, it should happen to us as well. In holistic view, we bring in this information and we add it, because when we are dealing with a chronic condition, the root of the problem is important. Not necessarily this root could be found within the physical body, whereas mostly in the mind, the way people think or perceive life creates a situation making them susceptible to a specific idea to come. There is a book written by an amazing soul named Yvette Rose. This is called Metaphysical Anatomy, almost 700 pages of knowledge, pure knowledge, to explain the possible mental and emotional predisposition to any sort of chronic problems, imbalances, or diseases, and so on, which every medical practitioner should have access to one of those books, but unfortunately they're not taught in the conventional medical system. Anyways, so emotions can change us because they are affecting specific organs in us. I'm sure you've heard or you've seen people who suddenly are terrified of something, they can pee in their pants because fear hits the kidneys. Anger is liver. So people who have congested liver, they are much more prone to getting angry or expressing the anger. Sadness is lung. People who are sad for a long time, they become predisposed to problems mainly related to compromised immune system, including cancer. The ones who don't laugh, there is no joy in their life, their heart becomes susceptible to diseases. Worry is digestive system. Imagine a student who is constantly worried about the result of a very important exam. He develops diarrhea. You see, emotions affect our body. Now, more important than that is what is happening in our mind. The way we think, the way we perceive, what we believe in, it all stays at the level of mind. No, these all are fields of energy, because even though there is no matter-based in them, our thoughts are not matter-based, they create strong magnetic field. Magnet could exist at the physical level, at the plasma level, or even quantum level. So magnet is the force. Anytime there is magnet, there is gravity. So magnet actually gives gravity position, so they keep the balance, like the yin and yang, like man and woman, like cold and dark, heat and so on and so forth. So the mind is where our perception are. Now imagine a person who believes he or she is not good enough. He can't jump. He won't be able to achieve that goal. He can't pass that entry exam, even though he's been a great student, but the belief is not there. He can never be able to ultimately express himself properly throughout his experience of life. And this also applies to how we become susceptible to become predisposed to diseases. We told you, we have brought up these examples even before. I'll mention it again. You go to a party, they don't know you. A lot of people are there. You're hungry. Actually, your husband is the one who's invited, but you agree to go along with him. He rings the bell. Two scenarios. Scenario one, the lady opens the door, the host. She has a smile on her face when she looks at you without any one single word exchanged. She leaves the door open, goes back inside. Of course, you guys go in, you enjoy the environment, you enjoy the friendship, you enjoy the food, music, dancing. You're going to have a great night that night. But in the next scenario, when she opens the door and she looks at you with a frown on her face, even though that frown had nothing to do with you, it was because she caught the maid stealing something from a purse.
But it's a signal you received.
The moment she opened the door, you saw her face with the frown on her face. You took the information in. It's your perception that, she doesn't want me here. I'm not wanted. I shouldn't have been here. You get angry, you get upset, you cannot go in. Even if you go in, you have a high blood pressure, your mouth is dry, you're angry, you can't digest anything, you can never enjoy the music, you are just looking for a moment to get out. You can never have a blessing moment.
So Dr. Parviz, then to make this more realistic for our audience, how can we change our perceptions then?
Sure, that could be a subject of another talk. But maybe I can give you a little bit of a hint today. So we are constantly, as human beings, like everything else in nature, being bombarded with various forms of information. From the moment of conception, you remember from last talk, until about age 7 or 8, a lot of information is actually embedded in us. They are the ones which create the boundaries around people in future. In addition to that, to how the media, the family, the friends, the school, the books, subjects, these all are affecting us. We're constantly being affected by the cosmic rays, by the perverse energy around us, by the environmental energy, by the food energy we eat, what we eat, how we eat, the way our life is conducted, and millions of other things around us constantly, including our telephone mobile, which constantly are sending signals. People go to bed with the phone close to their head. So
but it's good for people to know that the things that are not in our control, that we always felt like this was genetic, like you said before, and so we blame our genetics for what we do, is kind of out the window now, and that we have more control over things, correct?
That is true. And the more we become conscious about it, the easier it becomes and more successful we'll be in our future, because now consciously we can look at the flaws in us and fix that.
So those first 7 years, we can blame our parents for putting us in that environment, but yet now we know we can have control over that and refix it, basically.
True. And then later on we learned that we shouldn't blame them because probably they did their best, but the life was completely different. Their understanding was different. World was a different place at that time.
100%.
The moment we accept the past, we get rid of conflicts. Now, in alternative medicine, which does holistic approach, it is important for us to know the source or the root of the problem or the blockages. What is it that predisposing me to chronic diseases? And that, in most of the cases, cannot be found in the physical body. This is why, in conventional system of medicine, about 20 to 25% of the patients who are admitted in a ward of a hospital, they come in with a question mark. We don't know what's wrong with them. And they are discharged with the same question mark. After some time staying in hospital and taking various medication to control their symptoms, they still go out not knowing what was wrong with them, what is still wrong with them.
Exactly.
But with us is different. We look at the factors. What is it that could predispose this person to chronic fatigue syndrome, to fibromyalgia? Something happened in their life. It created a difficult memories. So the mind gives a difficult meaning to a difficult experience in the past. And that becomes 100%. Something undigestible. Imagine I eat something that I cannot digest. Okay, it's going to be a burden to myself, to my body.
Correct.
Imagine there is a thought, there is an idea, there is a partner, there's a behavior around me I cannot digest. It slowly manifests at the physical body as something I actually ate. So allergies, reactions, similar start to happen. You see, toxicity starts to build up. So this is the difference between holistic view and conventional view.
And in dentistry, it's the same. I can just look at a mouth and say, okay, it's a mouth filled with cavities. Now I have to drill and fill. Or why does this person have a mouth full of cavities?
Bravo. So you go after the root of the cause, and then you can prevent the excessive cavity in future, or you can slow it down at least if people follow your advice or information. So this way, you not only help people to get rid of the susceptibility, but you also make them better people for who they are, because you educate them. Then they know that, oh, I have to be responsible for my health. I cannot just go to a doctor and I expect the doctor to miraculously remove the disease in me where I don't want to take charge about my own health.
Yes.
So the beauty of the alternative medicine or the holistic approach is more complete, less invasive, and it goes after the root of the cause.
Beautifully said. And to that point, me and Dr. Parviz are also looking more and more into, as I'm a dentist, to biological dentistry, which we will be talking about in another podcast. And hopefully this is something that we can reach out to more the mass audience. But for today's topic, Dr. Parviz, if there's any questions, I know sometimes we just bombard and maybe overload you guys with lots of information. But please, if there's any questions, let us know. And if there's something that you would like us to either clarify or talk about in our future podcasts, we'd love to hear from you. And until next time, everyone, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.